Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel. Hello.
Hi.
Ring, ring. I'm joking. I'm staring right at you.
We are in the car, people. We are in the car together.
Running away from our families. That's why we started a podcast.
Pretty much.
So do you want to get into this week? I mean, obviously we talk about the whole week, but I kind of don't want to because the nurses' ball started today. And it's just like so amazing. And I wish we can just do that. But we'll talk about everything else.
All right, fine.
So let's start with like the most depressing stuff, okay? Because I mean the week started with Oscar's memorial. So what did you think about that? Tell me about all your sad feelings.
I was sad, but it was a beautiful send-off. It brought a lot of people together. We always say we like when the characters mingle together. So even though it was a sad moment, there was a lot of beautiful little nuggets of joy and appreciation of who Oscar was and his legacy that he left behind, and also the projects, like the whole Jason Drew building a whatchamacallit?
I think it was a
tree
house.
Okay, and all of those little moments made it
But didn't you want to die though? Like, is it because yes, I like that Oscar is trying to leave everybody in a good place and trying to make people closer that he feels should be closer.
Yes.
But like, I honestly I kind of lost it when he was like, "And I'll be there when it's finished too," and I was just like. But I loved his request. I think Monica loved it more.
Yes. Absolutely.
I want to get to Monica in a second, but in terms of just like this is a comment that I really loved, and it's about what you said. It's about Jason and Drew,
Okay.
And I hope for this as well. So Pisces_8705 said we need an episode of this project and brothers talking. They're long. Do one, like an episode together. So like this pivotal change or like evolution in their relationship. But I love that she specified like brothers talking, because like I mean they could easily do nothing like just put this treehouse together, not talk. So that's what I want. I mean Jason talks more. Like for people who've watched, he definitely talks more since his return. Like
True.
This week he went for coffee with Carly. Like I don't recall Jason ever really going for coffee to chat, you know, if it wasn't business related. And so I think it'd be really cool to see, okay, what happens when you put everything aside and you're focusing on a project? Like, well, these two put everything aside and get to know each other. I know I'm saying these two, but I don't think Jason has anything to put aside. I think for Drew, it's been a bit of like more of a struggle. Like,
that's what I was going to say. It looks like it's more difficult on his end. Jason seems open to all of this stuff. I do
because he got his like girl back. So
well,
he's just
right,
like,
you know?
whatever you want, man.
My
I got what I
gosh.
needed.
But I do like the idea of a special episode because it's one of those, it could be cheesy but not cheesy. GH always has this way of doing it just the right way, where there's pivotal moments where he's doing something, or maybe Drew hears a loud sound and maybe a memory comes back, or that there's a moment in their childhood that they could bond over, or a moment in their adult years that they could bond over. But spending that time together, I can just picture like the first 2 minutes in complete silence with their tools, and then you know, like maybe a beer being brought out by Jason, and then you hear like the biggest sound you hear is them opening the beer, and then slowly things start rolling from there. Like I can just picture the whole episode.
I think that would be more natural than expecting them to just chit chat the whole time.
Yeah.
But I would like a whole episode, even if it does include a lot of quiet time.
Same
with them. But like you said, it was sad, but like you said, it was always so beautiful. And I have to agree with Snazzy Yazzie. Oh, it's a fun name. That she said it was such a sad episode. I thought I was done crying. Me too. That's why they got me over this fictional character, but ugly crying over all the speeches. His mom. Oh, so sad. So I have to say, that's why it was a bit surprising, because it was supposed to be all uplifting, and then you just kind of got surprised by the emotion, and the speeches were really good too.
True.
Joss was brave doing her speech.
She was.
But I admit, like, Cam's speech was excellent.
It just so many feels. Like, I just didn't know. Like, I watched it, and I think I even missed some parts and rewound because you just lost in that specific moment before you're thinking of the next, or listening, paying attention to the next thing that's happening.
And I feel like even Elizabeth was surprised about how well spoken, you know, because he acted like he didn't care.
Yes.
And then he comes to the memorial and has something amazing to say. So that was really interesting. It's obviously really sad when Drew spoke, but kind of a controversy here. So like we said, so this is Paquin Scott said, this episode had me in tears. So well done. Not sure why everyone is distracted by Monica's sunglasses. Maybe she had something going on with her eyes. I don't remember who, but I did have somebody ask on Instagram, like, if something could have been wrong. And I was like, well, I mean, look, to be honest, I just thought at some funerals, people wear glasses to hide that they're emotional.
Yes.
So when I saw it, I actually didn't feel like it was out of place. It actually felt so familiar in my personal experience. But people were so it didn't distract me. But the more people kept asking, I was like, this is what I think. But of course it's always possible the actress had something and opted to wear sunglasses. But I actually didn't think it was like... I thought it was part of the character. I actually didn't think it was like real life spilling over into the episode.
No, I felt the exact same way. When I saw it, the first thing I thought of is, it just made me more sad because she was just like, she was probably crying, and I could just picture like the puffy eyes and just like wanting to hide behind that so that she can be strong, because her character is always to be strong. So I thought it was so indicative of who she was, but who she still wanted to be in front of her family. So it like hit me in a way different way than that.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think she was not only trying to hide her feelings, just to minimize her display, but you're right in the sense that her son lost somebody, and I think that even though she's lost a lot of people and losing Oscar was still hard for her, I think she wants to be there for Drew because she does know what it's like to lose a child, like more than one. So I think maybe that was part
Everybody
of it.
can't see me, but I'm nodding as Mish is saying all of it.
They can never see you.
I'm just saying, I realize that I do nod a lot while she's speaking.
Was there any other speeches that stuck out to you?
No.
What about maybe not the speeches, but the gesture of Ned, of the field and that was kind of...
it was very touching.
Yeah, that was kind of really cool. And the kids made plans to go back there for the 4th of July. So that, I think, will be emotional the first time we actually see a scene there. And so, like, one, like, major thing that does like, stick out about that whole episode was when Kim was alone and Sunny ended up showing up.
Yes.
Any thoughts as to why they made sure those two had a scene?
I don't know. It could show the connection, how, he still feels loyalty to Drew, even though Drew is no longer Jason, or just, like the way he feels about family and the importance that Oscar played in Joss's life and Joss's family. Just maybe a respect thing.
Because the thing is, it's
and
like
a lost child. He lost a child too.
They have that in common, and I think he respected Oscar. They had their own relationship. But I wonder if it's like a nod to the fact that it was his wife at one point.
That's what I was thinking.
Because, I mean, that could have been Carly, if anything. Carly forged more of a relationship. And even in today's episode, The Nurse's Ball, you see them sort of leave the worrying of Joss to Jax and Carly. And that's not to say that Sunny and everyone else doesn't care, but you notice that they seem to be compartmentalizing the worry of Josh to, like, it's really being shifted really just to Carly and Jax.
True.
So I just felt like, yes, he had her bond with, but the fact that there was, like, everything is intentional, we say.
Yes.
And the fact that they had that really important scene, like, that's the person who was there to provide her with some understanding. So anyways, that's what I kind of thought. I was like, you're my wife, but not right now.
Not really.
So I don't know. I liked the official end. Yes. Because, like, we didn't have that funeral, watching the church fill up and that typical, like, funeral scene. And, I mean, they're done sometimes really differently and originally for each character that passes. But I think this was, like, a really cool send-off. And Aunt DeFazio on Twitter said it was very well done, and I really agree. It was certainly, like, an original send-off,
Absolutely.
I think. A nice close to the story. So, I mean, it closes off part for people, but it's obviously continuing, for Drew and Kim. So we saw them attempting to empty out his closet or go through his things this week.
We did. And I just think that Drew, it's hard because he doesn't have very many expressions.
Yeah.
So that's the hard part. But he, when he said, like, are you leaving? There was, like, a little bit of something about the way, and, like, oh, we can handle all this together. And, we should go to Africa together. Sure.
Right?
Like, I get it, but, an Africa trip with the three of them will be hilarious.
I honestly didn't know in that moment when Julian walked in. Because, I mean, part of me actually wondered if he felt he wanted to do it alone because Kilimanjaro was meant to be him and Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know if he would, like you said, it's hard to read his expression. But I wasn't sure if it was like, no, I really want to do this alone to kind of like follow through. But he seemed okay that she was coming. So at that point, when he was kind of okay with it, I actually wondered if he was going to extend an olive branch to Julian.
Same.
And ask him to like also be there. I guess he's not there yet, which makes, I mean, look, it makes sense. But yeah, he had a heavy reaction to her moving, and honestly, her non-reaction didn't help because I was like, are you leaving? I mean, because I can't even imagine in her situation because he was her only child. And so, like, I can't imagine what this is doing to, like, her identity as a mother and what it's been for so long. And
her world,
where she wants to be and what she wants to do. So it was nice to hear her confirm that she was staying.
Agreed.
Because I would like to see, I mean, I don't know how far into the future Oscar's dream went.
Right.
But I mean, even the actor who plays Julian had like tweeted about that, like, who do you think it is? You know, like the image where she was standing in between Julian and Drew and she got engaged and we don't know to who, like in Oscar's
right, exactly.
dream. So yeah, so I am glad she's sticking around because that was kind of a fear that like, even when she came back, just because she happened to be the old Carly coming back, I for some reason made this connection that, oh, she's only going to come back temporarily.
Okay.
Because the girl who came back to play Claudia, like one of the past Carlys, she came back and she did a small stint. So I guess in my head I'm thinking, oh, like she's not going to do much. But then she really kind of cemented herself. She got a job and she was like part of the
love triangle. She got everything.
So I mean, yeah, I kind of don't want her to go. So I'm glad she's staying, as it looks like she's staying. And I think it's really cool that they successfully brought back another Carly and she stayed.
Yes.
So that's kind of interesting. So yeah, that was pretty sad. So what do you want to jump to next to kind of like compensate for that?
Okay, let's just do it. Let's just do the Peter Maxie, Curtis Laura board games versus activities. You can't see me air quotes.
Yeah, that's why you gotta narrate the air quote. Oh man, that was some kind of awkward.
Okay, but at least we know now why they're in Toronto, where they are, and how they end up bumping into each other, because that was very confusing.
Well, I think they meant it to be confusing because I had to rewind, and there was two subtle comments.
Okay.
That would tell you that they're not actually where they're supposed to be, or their plans weren't as they were. And obviously once you see Curtis and Laura, that's supposed to be your clue that they're where they are. Because I was like, how did they get to Paris? I'm like, I've never gotten rerouted that way.
I think we just wanted to believe so badly that they were in Paris, they were going to have their moment. Like, they still had their moment, it was just in Toronto. But, yeah, that was very confusing. So I liked the clarification. Like, they made sure they typed it out at the bottom of the screen. That was incredibly helpful. But I liked that they were playing the board game and that they had their individual scenes. Peter Curtis.
Right?
Laura Maxie. I was killing myself laughing.
But it's exactly what I thought would happen. Yes. That, like, Laura would give, like, the pep talk to Maxie. I didn't really anticipate Curtis and Peter having that, like, direct conversation a little bit. But it's an interesting mix of people. I mean, not necessarily Laura, because she's very connected to Maxie and to Peter indirectly. But Curtis being thrown into that whole thing, I just found really funny.
It was.
So, I mean, I'm glad the awkwardness is over. I'm glad whatever advice they planted. It's just a lot of obstacles to get to that point, though.
Exactly. So what killed me is, okay, one, that they actually, I know it's a soap opera and they do a lot of, like, narration with themselves within a room, but that they repeated the last piece of advice that they received from Curtis and Laura.
Yeah.
And then they, like, meet in the living room and started making out. But I was, like, laughing so hard. I'm like, that's what you needed?
But that's what I thought would happen.
Attracted to you. They have, like, the willpower of, like, a million men. Like, I don't even understand.
Okay, well, you know what? Maybe a little less than that, because JL Palm 20 216 says she's got the willpower of 5 women. It makes me laugh because we always say usually like we exaggerate to like 1,000 or 1,000,000 like you just did. This is what she said. I would have jumped him as soon as the plane took off, right?
Yeah. I'm like, willpower? None, apparently.
No, because it's like he knelt down like right in front of her face, and like didn't they make out a little bit?
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, this is an awkward flight to Paris, because like you've kissed, you guys won't stop stopping yourself, and now you gotta stare at them for like 7 hours.
I know, they were sitting across from each other, like, really?
So I don't like, that's the thing with those two. It was constantly push-pull that it was kind of getting annoying. And that's the point. I figured Laura would be there to, like, give her that push. But
still weird.
Again. But, like, did she forget that she went to go buy lingerie because she wanted to?
Maybe.
But they do give each other this, like, not interested vibe. Because they're all like, oh, I don't want to seem like I like him. You're on a date in another, like, country.
I know.
You like each other. Anyways, whatever. I'm just glad that whole thing's over.
Exactly.
Because I couldn't wait any longer.
No, I was like, I'm so over this. If this doesn't happen during this trip, I don't care what happens next.
Okay, this I have to say I loved so much. Because, look, we are not all going to be fans of the same people.
Yes.
We're not going to like all the same storylines. But I really loved how this person put her non-love for Peter and Maxie. I just think it was very nicely put. So this is MECMPK said, not a fan. I will wait it out and see how it goes. I love that approach. I think it's super
respectful.
Fair. Exactly. So that was for me personally, that I just love that she's like, not a fan. Let's just wait it. Because the thing is, it took so long to start.
Yes.
And I do think that Peter was in her future. I just don't know if he's going to be in her future because I have this fantasy in my head that she'll end up with Michael because she's like a Carly and Michael's like a Jason.
But Michael fits so well with so many people, and we'll jump into that in a little bit. But yeah, everybody loves Michael.
Everybody does love Michael. I mean, some more than others. Like Nina, like, loves Michael.
Oh my god!
But yeah, we will get to that. But I just want to talk a little bit about Curtis and Laura. So, okay. Curtis is a PI, and I get that he's got a lot going on, and he sort of underestimated Laura at the start of this whole thing. Like, are you ready to do all this? But she was the one who had, I felt like, the better instincts. Like, we should go back to this house. I
totally wrote that.
Like, I just thought that he, it's an abandoned house.
Right?
I don't know. Whatever. But anyway, so she kind of led him back to the house.
Yes.
They talked to a very suspicious lady.
Right? I like that he's like, you don't have a tan. It's like, keep it in your head, bud.
I know, right? I'm like, so, yeah, because that's what, like, government survey people, anyways, because she doesn't even know what they're there for. So I just like how they're at dinner, and then, like, Laura goes into all of her, like, intricate research about flights to try to say, like, she's lying, and then he's like, I saw Ryan clipping stuff from the Invader. I'm like, you could have just cut her off.
Right?
Or when you were sitting beside her and she was racking her brain doing all that research, you could have told her the moment you left, because she clearly was researching on the way to the one restaurant that exists in your area of Toronto that you were in.
Which is a joke.
So I thought that was really, really funny. And again, like, obviously she knew something was up when they got there, but it kind of sucks when it was very horror movie. But it kind of sucks that you have no connection to, like, to any nothing, to, like, call the police when he's like, just go back out to the highway. And it's just like, everything is scary. You don't split up.
That scream that Laura gave at the end of, I think it was like Thursday's episode. I don't know what episode it was, but it was absolutely terrifying. Like, the scream of nightmares, like, good on her. That was an incredible moment.
I think this person's comment is kind of reflecting what you're saying, because you're right. That scene really got you.
Yes.
And so it was Laura. This is from Prince Fan Forever 1970. Laura didn't see Ryan but Jason from Friday the 13th. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's kind of what it looked like. It looked like she was straight up in a horror movie. And I was just like really scared, because I'm like, what's going to happen? Although I never thought for a second she'd die. I just didn't know what she would do, because he was cornering her. I do think it's funny that, I mean, of course, Curtis, like, got knocked down. But I just loved his reaction when he found the girl dead, because he's like, she gone.
Yeah, that's true. I giggled. I was like, well, that's the way to bring down the moment.
Oh my god, I just thought that whole thing was so funny. But yeah, so I'm going to just say a couple more comments, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about, like, what I'm thinking about the whole thing. So, okay. So, yeah, like we were saying, she did an amazing job, Jeannie Francis. So, this is Sly.Kurt. So, Jeannie Francis did a great job in this scene. To me, was the only scene worth watching from yesterday's episode. And I mean, look, the whole episode was fine, but I admit it kind of, like, stole the show.
Absolutely.
Her final scene, it was, like, a little unexpected. And Mersada _Kolar said she is the best. And she really is, though. And I'm really glad they're giving her just such spotlight to do such really cool things, because it doesn't always happen.
Well, I think
where the character doesn't go to their potential, like, to
Yes. So especially, and it's a Hollywood thing, you know, like she's an older character. She's come back to the show on multiple occasions, that she still gets these stories with adventure. She still gets to work with people like Jason, Curtis. She still gets to be the mayor.
She's not isolated.
Exactly. She's in a position of power, but still has this great role in the show where she has flexibility to bend the rules a little bit.
Yes.
And I love it. And she is strong. So like you said, Curtis didn't know because she walks around and is very unassuming. And if you don't know her past, you don't know who she is. But when she gets into that role, she has great instinct and she knows what to do and she knows how to handle a situation.
That's like, I think you pretty much articulated why I think that's so cool, and I don't think I knew why I thought that was so cool. So yeah, so what I wanted to get to, so we had that crazy scene with Laura, and obviously we want to know what happened, but then when I found out the nurses' ball was starting on Friday, I was like, well, I don't really care now.
I know.
Nurses' ball.
Focus shift.
But then when I saw a couple other scenes on today's episode, I was like, oh, he's headed to the nurse's ball. I'm like, I did not see that coming, the connection between the two. But I kind of feel super sad for the characters that they don't get to be at the nurse's ball.
I know.
Because everyone else gets to like mingle and sit and like chill while all of the performances are happening. And they're just like off getting blown up.
In Toronto with some confetti.
It was like, I thought maybe some flames, but it was not bad, because I didn't know if they would run out and you would just hear the sound, but they got an explosion. So that's what I mean. She's doing well in life. She got the explosion. But I have to admit, I kind of like enjoyed all the Canada talk this week.
Me too. It was such a like, yay, I'm so proud of where I'm from.
And they seem to know
Canada
I know,
and Toronto. And Maxi's like, I love Canada and Toronto, and I'm going to come back. I'm like, yeah.
Even Anna, when they started talking to her about it. So I was like, you guys are showing off. Like, you guys know a lot about
Well,
Canada.
you know, we know there's the Canadian, like there's Julian, who's from Montreal, where we're from,
true.
And there's Dante, who's from Hamilton, Ontario. So
and there was Dr. Drake, he was Canadian too.
That's true. So a lot of connections.
He
He was
still
from
is.
Alberta. He's still Canadian. But a lot of Canadian connections, so we love that.
Yeah, we really do. Okay, so I actually just mentioned Anna. So talk about like trying to. No, I won't get to like the annoying parts just yet. I'm gonna start with like her and Peter, which was really cute.
Yes, it was.
So like he actually, so he's making an effort because like we talked about, you know, he has his own like personal reasons why it's hard, and I do think it's more challenging for him because he's had these ideas of like who she was for so long. So I think it's anyways, but I think he's making a good effort.
Oh my gosh.
And I love their little talk. Like he was all thankful for the advice. And then she opened up about her life problems.
And then he went to bat for her.
I know. When he called like for Finn, I was just like, that's a huge step.
Big.
Which I think will kill him if he thinks like I've made all this effort for my aunt. Or maybe he'll like her more as his aunt.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. I think that in the end, if it comes out, he'll have a different kind of appreciation for her. I think he just like hate on the other one.
Right? So he will have someone to hate at the end of the day, because maybe his hatred was justified if it's directed at Alex.
1000%.
So I love that whole thing. So okay, I was a bit relieved to know, because her rant on hating marriage, turns out it was hating to be married to Robert.
Exactly. I love that. It was just a hilarious, like you know, like one of those, like, it's a misunderstanding, like a Seinfeld episode or like a Frasier episode where, you know, you hear part of the conversation, but it's not really what's going on. And it was just hilarious. There was hilarity in that scene with like Felicia, Mac, and Robert. And I forgot that Mac and Robert were brothers, because like
it's really easy to forget with their accents, because you're just like, explain this to me, because don't Jerry Jacks and Jasper Jacks have different accents?
Do they? I'm gonna totally have to Google that.
I don't recall it being like similar.
I don't
know.
I don't know anymore. I mean, we barely knew the beginning of the song.
Right?
The intro song.
Yeah. So you guys, so the intro is different. One, it was slower, so loving the pace. But then I'm like, so we're watching it together, and I'm like, so Mel's like, oh, they slowed it down. And my jaw is open, because I'm telling her, the music is different.
I'm like, oh.
And she doesn't even notice. And then I'm also kind of like, okay, but the music changed, but now I forget the old music to like have a valid criticism or complaint, and I'm like, I don't know. Basically, I'm okay. Like, I'm okay with it, because I don't remember what happened. I don't remember the old song. Then this song played, and then it ended up with the image of General Hospital, so that really distracted me. And we finally got like a beat at the end, like a bum bum, like something. So at the end of it, I was like, this is the weirdest few seconds of my life. I have so many reactions.
Well, it's so funny how you hear first and I saw first. So it's kind of indicative of maybe how we are.
I saw a lot first, but I was also like hearing.
But
like,
it reminds
I also have the gift
all
of
my
hearing.
senses. But it reminded me of in the beginning, like back in the day when I watched it as a teenager, that last scene for the longest time until they changes it was the scene of the hospital. So
Yeah.
it's like the reintegration of the old and the new. I don't know if it's specifically for the nurses' ball to just like have a culmination of like the time and the newness and blah blah blah, or if it's like an actual change permanently.
I think it's a permanent change. I don't think they would do an intro just for the nurses' ball.
Well,
I don't mind it. Well, who knows? I forget like the moment I've seen it. So back to this never gonna happen proposal, but needs to happen fast to stop any miscommunication. So
Right.
I just love Finn and Chase together.
I know there's.
Oh my god, when he checked Anna's hands for a manicure.
I know. And then, oh my god, when Finn's like, if you're seeing things, we need to check because you may have cataracts. That whole scene was amazing.
They were like ripping each other to shreds, and he makes fun of Willow, which is funny. He calls her the what's it, the marm, the teacher. What does he call
I don't
her?
know. I could never really quite catch when he was saying it.
But anyways, that was really, really funny. But I like how, okay, I'm sorry, but what was Finn going to do to Shiloh? Like, when he found out that
I
Willow's
know.
ex was still being, like, psychotic, he's like, let's go. And I'm like, what are you
gonna
going to do?
Beat him up? Like,
Prescribe something? Well, maybe he can inject him with, like, a virus, like a
that's-
infectious disease. You
Ooh.
know what? I'm for that idea.
I am as well, because then they could keep him there, get more information, record that, and then decide if they want him to give him the antidote or not.
Oh, that's very Anna Finn, trapped in spy situations, and maybe all that's going to come in handy. But, okay, so I'm loving all their advice, but I liked Chase's advice. He said just propose without the
Yes.
ring, and I'm kind of all
Yes,
for it.
same. A moment is a moment. When it's romantic, you just do it.
But leave it to a soap opera to come up with a rationale as to why he can't.
What was it?
You're right, you don't hear first. Do you watch it on mute? Like, I don't know.
First time, mute. Second time, hearing. My senses, individual.
He gave this whole story about the ring and its
Oh, the
meaning.
sapphire.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I remember now. It's coming back.
So it's like,
That's nice and all, but you can tell the story afterwards.
but you don't have the ring. You don't know if you're gonna ever get it back. So
Right.
and I liked Chase's concept of like, just hate on Robert together, like, you know.
Right.
So we don't know what's gonna happen, and I mean, I'd hope that he would just propose at the nurse's ball. I think getting
I hope
over
so,
it would
too.
be best. But I'm wondering. I'm guessing she'll say yes because she kind of said to Peter it was a proposal, but not from Finn.
Exactly. I definitely think she's going to say yes. And I think he's just going to like look at her and have that moment and then decide that that's what's more important.
Oh, and I love that Finn made fun of Chase's detective skills.
Yes, I wrote that down too.
What sucks is that I don't remember what Chase said
Oh,
that he made fun of, but I think it was hilarious.
I know. It was funny. Oh gosh. If I find it, I will say it.
I hope so. It would be kind of crappy for you to just read it to yourself and just be like, okay, let's move on.
Yeah. Oh.
So real quick, Stella yelling at Jordan.
At least she still gets her yelling out, you know?
Yeah, that's a whole dilemma, but I think it'll get sorted out. I feel like they're leaning toward like a long lost family member.
I think so too.
Being the
There's
donor.
multiple mentions, and then she brought up that website that you can go to.
Like a genealogy website?
Exactly.
So maybe what I said is actually going to happen, because I was saying for the Ashford family, because they're a family cemented into the General Hospital world now, and I think they're going to remain and they're going to be in Port Charles.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I said it would be better if it came from within the family. Like if it was Stella. But now
Right.
if it's a long lost person, it still furthers the Ashford story.
Exactly. Which I like that, because they're like putting roots into the Port Charles world.
Exactly.
And that's great to have another family. I think it just adds to the whole appeal of everything.
So that whole thing during the yelling, Jordan thought she got saved when Marcus showed up.
Yes. But that did not stop things.
No, Stella tried to squeeze in a little bit more, but she got distracted from the call from Mike.
Yes.
So let me just get this clear. In that conversation between Stella and Jordan, they had a conversation about confidentiality.
Yeah.
Then Stella gets a call from Mike and chooses to inform Marcus, who's not her client in any sense of the word, what the deal is. I get doing that as a friend, but like
Right.
as a professional, so Stella just sort of tells them, and now we're back kind of, I'm going to agree with Sunny. We're kind of back at square one. Like, I know it's hard and I know it's a different loss, but comparing losses doesn't get anybody anywhere.
True.
They're both hurting for very different reasons. And constantly accusing Mike of having some kind of, I don't understand,
agenda?
like a fake Alzheimer's. Like, what is it that you're saying? Like, I just find it a little insulting. Like, what do you think he's in in that facility for zero reason?
To
like,
creep
they're
on women?
just for fun? Like, so that kind of bothers me. I know that Marcus is hurting, but it does make me a little upset when he tries to diminish Mike's condition, because he's in there for a reason, and if he was well enough to be with his family, like, he would be. We saw how much it was a struggle to get him into the facility, so that kind of bothers me. I mean, look, I'm glad that he, like, gave his blessing and all, but
I was too. But here's the thing, like, I know he's sad and he's going through, like, Stella said it very well in terms of all the different stages that he has to go through to make peace and find his closure. But he was going to dinner with Stella. So, like, I'm sorry. And the googly eyes that he gives to Stella, like, I know, I get it. He's sad about his wife. But, dude, you're not sitting at home crying every single night either.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. I don't want to minimize his pain, but I was like, you were on a date.
Right? He bought, he bought Stella's basically daughter-in-law, is the way, like, their family works together, even though, like, Curtis is her nephew, whatever. But the closeness in their family, he, like, went and bought her flowers. Like, he's already integrating into that new family.
Exactly. I mean,
so
look,
it's, like,
it's hard. He's letting go of his wife. But, like, do you think at some point, I mean, Mike is obviously not convincing anybody that he bought the ring.
Right?
So, I mean, look, I feel like the only way this will come to light is basically, like, Sunny bumping into Robert, who complains possibly about a ring. Like, that's the only connection there. I don't know what it would mean for Mike. I don't know. I say best case scenario.
Switch the
Switch the fake ring for the real ring. And, like, let's just be done with that. So, for all intents and purposes, Mike's got himself a nice ring and a nice lady. He's got a great future. Meanwhile, like, Finn is struggling like crazy. And his anger is obviously escalating toward Robert, who not only withheld giving back the ring, but then gives him back a fake ring.
But that whole scheme, like, I like that little moment between, like, Mac and Robert.
Like,
for Mac, I found a guy.
For Mac being a little goody-goody about the whole other plan, he's like, I got a guy.
I know.
That's really funny for, like, ex-commissioner, I got a guy. So, okay, so we mentioned earlier that Carly had coffee with Jason, which turned into, like, a medical thing. Mm-hmm. She seems fine, but she's obviously holding back something.
I feel that way too, so I don't know if it's just maybe
she has to do follow-up tests, I think.
Right.
So what's your money on the reaction between Carly and Sunny, boy or girl?
Girl.
You think so?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, I'm excited to see.
What are you voting?
I say girl because I think it would be too hard on them if it was a boy.
Same.
So I think girl, and I'm just hoping whatever makes them happy or makes it less weird.
True.
Of them having another baby. So I just have to say, I find Ava and Kevin, like, super entertaining.
I do as well. That scene with them together, and I think I may have spoke about this last week, I can't remember, but his anger towards Ava, like Kevin just being so, like, abrupt with her and so, like, I want to get this over with, like, it's too much. Like, I think there's, like, a little spark or something.
You said that. It's really subtle,
I still
but
feel like it pushed even more in that scene at the park when they were waiting for because he just kept repeating himself. But yet, the minute he saw the cameras, they embraced, and he didn't seem disgusted or weirded.
No, and he's not disgusted by her. He made that very clear.
Yes.
And you know what kind of sucks, and I don't know if, like, Ava, the character, thinks about this, but the whole part of, like, Ryan was not judging her, but you know what? Kevin's doing the same thing. It's sort of, like, opening that same sequence of events without, like, the murder and the crazy.
Which is different for Ava. She's always had these very weird and dramatic situations, apart from the doctor, but still I find that she wasn't herself, whereas in this, even though it's a fake relationship, she's really herself with the person she thought she was with. And he feels for her and accepts her for who she is. So there is like a 5% opening, and I'm very interested to see how this is all going to wrap up. Because I feel that something will almost happen to Ava, and she'll be in a very difficult situation, and maybe he'll end up saving her. And then there's going to be that, like, adrenaline, that moment of, like, being together and getting through this and saving her, and that might leave some weird feels for everybody.
Okay, so there might be something dramatic, but the feelings will kind of creep.
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't picture it happening like boom.
No, it's more like subtle. This big dramatic thing will happen. Then they separate, and then they'll kind of be like, "Oh crap!" You know?
This is so dramatic because I like all the characters. Like I like
too.
Ava, and if something happens down the line where he's with her, I just wouldn't want it to pit Ava and Laura against each other. I would just hate that for something trivial like the love triangle. But I kind of like them together.
I do too, but I also like her with Scott, the idea of her with Scott.
Oh, I love that more because he's so
Right?
funny.
So
I love that
funny.
more. So never mind.
I feel like he would call her on her shit, and they have this like this like cute bantery thing.
Yeah.
And just the way he is with her. And yes, I love that more. And maybe there will be feels, and then they'll just go away because of Scott, and they'll go back into their regular lives. It's kind of like when you go through something big with somebody, it takes time to like readapt to your real life.
But in Ava's mind, because I'm going to pretend that I know what's in
Yes.
Ava's mind, I think that's going to give her exactly what she wants because it would give her Laura and Kevin as her friends.
Right.
As opposed to
Yes.
like dismantle. Because then, because look, she's hanging around a group, right?
True.
And if she really was with Kevin, like the reason why everyone's hanging out with her is because they know Laura is sort of consenting to the whole thing.
Right.
Otherwise, they have less reason to like be buddy with Kevin because Mac and Felicia were mad at Kevin.
That's true.
And so when Kevin was saying, I think a week or so ago, well, don't you want to get back to your life? What life?
I know.
She doesn't have like much of a social life. So if she dates Scott, she would be in that circle and she would maintain all those friendships and she can kind of have that.
I love that more.
So I'm pro Scott.
Same.
Pro Scott. And can we just speak for a moment? Why do you think Willow and Nina had that interaction this week?
Oh my gosh, it was so weird because at one point I was hopeful, like Nina was going to bat for Willow in terms of the book.
Well, it wasn't clear. It wasn't clear at first
at all. But as she said, I'm like, wow. And then that last scene when she was leaving the room, she was kind of like, don't you think for a second that I'm basically defending you is what she was saying.
I hate her so much in those scenes.
Oh,
and I hate saying that about that character.
Same. It's so hard.
But she changes so much. And I have to say this, and I mentioned it today when we were watching. She attacks Willow for having this platonic friendship
right
with Michael and giving her this accusation of needing attention because she has a male friend and has a boyfriend. And I had pointed out to you, hi, Miss, I'm close to Curtis,
right?
Who I talk about my relationship with.
And he's a super hot guy.
And let's just point out that Curtis is not exactly buddy with Valentine. It's pretty much just Curtis's friend, and Curtis is not a friend of the couple. Whereas Michael is a friend of the couple. And Willow would be more than friend of the couple of Michael and Sasha, because Sasha has no problem with Willow. True. They've already kind of met. So it's just like, that's what kind of bothers me, is that like, her friendship with Michael is like no secret. He was like a third member of her relationship for some time now until he got himself with Sasha.
But I wanted to be on the receiving end of that hug though, in the classroom.
Yeah, it was like
it was a little bit longer than it should have been, given maybe they had to wait until Nina walked into that scene.
I think so. Like we gotta time this really, really right. But anyways, I just think it's crazy because she continues to see Willow with Chase, and she continues to see the progress with like Michael and Sasha, and Sasha doesn't seem to care because she knows what's happening in the relationship because she's kind of in it. So just saying. And so then Valentine catches a convo with Sasha and Michael.
Okay, I was a little confused about that conversation because I'm like, does everybody know what's happening? Do we actually know what's happening? He's like, oh, keep your secret, Michael said too, Sasha.
So what confuses you?
Well, I know they didn't actually say the words, and it wasn't necessary to say, but did Michael really understand? He's just so pretty, and his face wasn't like sure.
Well, he believes what she says. What is he going to think? That she was hired and that Nina's like legitimately not her biological mom? Yeah. Because you remember why. He had heard her when she was delirious. So But you're kind of right, though, because she's kind of saying she's not as close with Nina as she is letting on. That was her cover.
I know, but it was like the lamest cover in the world.
But couldn't she have just covered it, like, I think how you had said it a while back? I think when you're just like, I wish she was my real mom, as in, like,
I got
wish,
adopted and she was the one that was there for me in my life.
And my original mom, like, I love her, but part of me wishes
that I had my mom.
Her there. That I feel like that would have made more sense because, like, if you don't wish her to be a real mom, or you don't think this is going down a hole.
It was so confusing to me.
But either way, I just love Michael's looseness around the truth, and I'm like, I love it. I gotta remember this explanation because I'm on board. I'm on board with the, like, what did he say? Like, truths and lies don't always have, like.
Oh, we have to Google that.
I don't know, but I feel like it justifies me lying more in my life. So I really like that. But I just don't see how anything in that conversation was threatening in terms of, like, Valentine being like, you got to go after this. It's like, Michael is, like, has so much going on. Like, I don't think he could put two and two together in terms of this. Like, he has very minimal information on Sasha or Nina's situation or Valentine's life to even make a connection.
And to even care. He's having a good time. Yeah. He's getting some action on the side. He gets this beautiful person.
Is it really on the side or is it like main? The main course. The main course. It's like, I don't know.
So they have
on the side of what?
I think they are the steak. I don't even know anymore.
No, they're the steak. They're together. So or like the main meal if you're not into steak. But they're They're it. So okay, so let's just get down to the last bits of the info that we got on the cult so far.
Right.
So Spinelli's back pointing out how oh my gosh, so excited to see him.
So handsome.
Right? In his little suit and stuff. So he points out all that can go wrong. And I was like, that's a legitimate concern because
1000%.
She's all drugged up. Maybe she could say, like, you repulsed me. I hate you so much. Get off me.
This is a plan.
I love that. But, I'm just saying, if you have the opposite. So does that mean they're going to miss the nurse's ball? Anyways, because they got to go bug the place.
Right.
But they said the sound has to be really good. But I mean, can't you install a camera?
Right?
Or leave a phone? Anyways, I don't know about this plan. But I mean, I think Jason kind of like doesn't care about the details. And he kind of lets Sam say everything. And I think part of it is just like, yeah, I'm kind of going to be there and I'm going to stop things before they go too far. Exactly. So let's just let everybody just sort of say whatever they want to say because I can't stop your plan, but once you're drugged, I can probably stop you from being raped. Because like
I felt that.
So I feel like this is why like I'm not worried. I think maybe that's why Jason's not worried because he's like, I'm going to be there and I'll be listening and I'm not going to let this go too far, but we'll definitely have enough about like his intent.
100%. Like he definitely, because how calm he was when he was speaking to Spinelli, that's when it clicked with me.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
Like, why is he just letting Sam sail this? Why is he letting her?
Yeah.
Like, she's going around telling everybody what her plan is, and they're looking at her like she's gone completely bonkers.
So Sam is not even basically like, we're gonna like pretend and I'm gonna let myself be drugged,
right?
And then Jason's gonna step in. Like so in her mind, she's gonna be like doing the full initiation, and in Jason's mind, he's like, no,
exactly.
Okay,
he's like, you do that, and I'll do you, I'll do me.
I like honestly, it's the best way to play it. Why have this conversation while she's conscious?
Exactly.
Just show up when she's all drugged up, and then if she's mad that he saved her from being sexually assaulted, then I guess that's their problem to deal with. And so I'm kind of concerned because Christina thinks that Sam is in the cult, and I don't know, like, everyone thinks she's so fragile, but I think that, like, let's say they convinced her. I think that might have been a moment to let her know that Sam had been there to protect her the whole time.
I know.
I don't know if she would have flew off the handle or kind of, because I don't think that's the reason they're not telling her. I don't think they're keeping it from Christina because she thinks she's gonna like do something to tip off Shiloh or spoil the plan. So the fact that the lie has still continued, I'm kind of wondering if that is going to be damaging to the relationship, because now I don't know if it'll be that damaging now, but I kind of feel like, I mean, whatever, the psychiatrist had a point. He's like, if your plan's over tonight, it's better. I love the advice. He's like, it's better to just avoid her for a few more hours rather than see her and lie to her some more.
I agree. See, that's the thing. Like, I think Sam's crazy. I think this whole situation is weird. I don't believe that Christina will fall apart. I just think that they need to get it over with sooner than later so that she can explain why.
Right.
Like, it's still so fresh for Christina. I'm not saying she's weak, but it's still, she's navigating.
But Molly also doesn't know.
I know.
She just thinks she has two stupid sisters.
Right? But I love Molly's, like, gusto and feistiness and, like, walking up to Peter and, like, I love it.
Speaking of that, so, like, when she started listing off her resume, I had a thought in my head, and somebody kind of just said it, and I was like, yes, I 100% agree with you. So, Knitting the Blue said Lulu should be worried Molly will earn that job away.
Oh, my... I love it.
Because when I heard her resume, I'm like, okay, between Lulu and between Obrecht, I think she would be the only published author to then start, where The Invader is not like their first writing job or like, you know, the start. So I just thought that was super funny, and I kind of loved how she introduced herself as Sam's little sister.
Yes.
But it's true because he used to work for Sam, so that would make sense.
Oh, that's why. Okay, that part I wasn't like too sure, but I like that.
I'm like, is that your title? But no. Like, it makes complete sense that that she would introduce herself that way. So that's really funny. I'm really excited to get to the nurses' ball, and I just have one more thing to say about that. Was just Alexis, because Alexis was kind of had a reaction. I think she's excited that her therapist is also going to the nurses' ball. And I don't know if it's like that's her flirting, but she's like, our paths seem to cross a lot. And I'm like, yes, when you book appointments with someone, you are bound to see them on a regular basis.
This is Port Charles. It's like 2 blocks wide. You're going to bump into each other every single day. So I giggled at that as well, because she's like, oh my,
I don't know. Like, Alexis, like, you have zero boundaries. Like, you're kind of hitting on your therapist, which I find hilarious. And so, but she did say, like, maybe one of the favorite, like, my most favorite things I've ever heard her say. So she said about Julian, objects may be closer than they appear.
Yes.
Look, all I can say is at least she knows she's crazy.
True. She's becoming more self-aware of her actions and not just acting.
Yeah, so
reacting.
Well, okay, she's self-aware, but let's just see if she can behave herself at the nurses' ball with her
and he'll be in a suit
therapist there. I mean, he wears a suit all the time, but this might be extra suit, and
extra suity.
She might be super into suity, extra suity. So yeah, I'm super excited about that. So let's get into it. I was so excited.
Wait, one more small little comment about Lulu, because you know how I feel about Lulu, and I'm not always like her number one fan. However, that scene with Lulu and Maxie at the cafe, the BFF situation, I completely loved it. Last week, I think they had a scene at the nail salon. This week at the cafe, and then like Maxie's talking about all this magical stuff, and in that moment I was like, dude, I just want the deets. And then the next scene, Lulu's like, okay, enough about that, just give me the details. It was like perfect. And then I think it was in that conversation that she said, I had a feeling of FOMO. One of them said that, and I actually had to Google what it meant.
You're missing out.
Yeah, I didn't know that, so I felt like a really old lady in that moment. But however, let's get on to the nurses'
I don't think you should feel bad if you never like use that, and you use like actual words.
Yeah,
like, and you said something like, I'm afraid to miss out. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing to say words. You have to abbreviate everything.
I love words.
We've got time in life. We don't have to abbreviate everything.
I mean, look at all the wordiness right now.
We say so many words.
Right? Okay, nurses' ball.
Nurses ball. Oh my God, I get so excited when the nurses' ball comes in. It feels like an event. I swear, one year I really, really should wear a dress. And
we should.
I really should, because I don't know, I love it. It feels like such an event when it happens. True. And so we have Chandra Wilson from Grey's Anatomy. Her third appearance, third character on the show.
Love her.
And Nina, I'm sorry, is always hilarious. Her facial expressions, she does bring the comedy, but watching her host this year, something I hadn't noticed. There's a lot of people in Port Charles that Nina doesn't like.
Yes, men and women we've seen.
Yeah, I was just kind of... I didn't realize, because like you see the character in their own circle, and she's often with Valentina or Sasha. So to see her exposed to so many people, there was like Lucy, Ava, Peter, her co-host.
Right? So many people.
Okay.
However,
go for it.
There was one person that she was just had little stars in her eyes over.
She didn't appear to be in a relationship when she met him.
When she laid her eyes on Jax, I never saw Nina at a loss for words. she was just awestruck by him. And then the interview down the red carpet was something that was just so completely classic, stumbling over words, talking about accents.
Talking about Australia. And he's like, have you ever been? Like, what?
No, I don't know, but I like the accents. Like, Valentine's going to have a run for his money, because when Jax made that connection, I truly believe that he likes women who are strong, but also who are taken.
Did you see that extra motivation? Yes! Because even when he like shook his hand and met him, part of me was like, okay, is he clicking? I mean, honestly, you have to know of who who Valentine would be, the Cassadines, and I just wondered, okay, like, what is he aware of about him? But I'm really excited, and it's just like, is that all it took for Nina? There was no like person of that caliber, because like, I mean, look, she was with Franco, not to diminish him, he's in a great place in a great relationship, but then she's with this prince. Well, no, like, he's not anything, but like, he just has this castle,
right? And lots of money,
right? That
lots
he stole
of power
from a little child. He has it.
Yeah. So
who do you date after that?
True, everything's a step down. It's like when Maxie said, after going on a private plane, how do you fly commercial again?
Exactly.
Right?
So when Jax shows up, it was like, is that all she needed? Was just another viable option?
I think so. And I like how that, because we know that Jax is staying for a bit. We do know that Nina, the actress herself, is going to leave, but they really kind of set in motion this whole different storyline for Jax to be integrated, for Nina to have some, like, because we know the wedding's coming up. They mention him a couple of times. So it's going to be interesting to see how
she will see him at the Metro Court.
That's true.
Until he, like, buys the house next door to Sunny.
I feel like, I don't know what his business is. I just know that he makes lots of money. I feel like he's going to be in the office either near her or around her. Like, they're going to have much more, how do you say, what's that? Serendipitous type situation.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. If he actually gets an office in the building, that would be really interesting, because like, I mean, I don't know what Valentine does all day, because he visits her at work and tries to get her to come home every now and again, and it was just like, she's working. I think she knows when to come home, man.
Right?
You know, when he like brings her surprise at the office, it's like, oh, go away, like, I'll see you when I'm done my work. Like, I don't know what you do all day.
Well, that's the thing, he has money, just kind of like does stuff, but she's working and she's passionate about what she did. She built her empire. She didn't steal or kill for it.
He's a stay-at-home husband.
That's a really good point, because Jax is gonna be like hard at work, working every day, making his dime, and Valentine's just like, can you come home? I miss you, I'm bored.
I feel like that's what he does, but in a suit.
Yes.
At her work. So we're gonna see. That's gonna be really funny. I think it'll put Sunny at ease.
I think so too.
That Jax. Okay, what other nurses ball moments are you loving so far?
Okay, well, in just the pre-nurses ball, Franco gets a gold star for getting the stretch limo for the nurses.
Yes, the nurses deserve that.
Smooth move, really awesome, and the nurses deserve it. Big time.
Yeah, he deserves it, and he's integrating. Because first of all, these are also his coworkers, but also Elizabeth's life. So he's doing a really good job at integrating and seeming like he genuinely enjoys it.
Another moment was when Willow spotted Shiloh. There was 2 Shiloh interactions that were kind of interesting. So when Willow spotted Shiloh, and I can't wait to see what happens next, because Chase is there, and we know that that's going to go down.
But he doesn't back off even when Chase is there, and I'm hoping that Sam will finally see who this Willow girl is, and maybe recognize I can use her as a contact when she sees how he is with her and how she reacts to him, because maybe she's the only one that can really pull him away when he keeps trying to interact with her and she doesn't want to.
That's true. There's also the moment with Shiloh, and Carly and Sunny.
That was epic. And I'm just like, I love how like they just don't care. And Carly like couldn't wait to give this guy a piece of her mind. You know, she's been on the outskirts of this. She's allowed the parents to handle it, Sam to do what she's got to do, whether she likes it or not. So the fact that she got to just run her mouth to him was just everything. And Sunny's smirk after his threat was
classic.
Loved it.
Beautiful. And we always talk about Carly's kind of background acting too. So her reactions to like what Sunny was saying and just looking at Shiloh, and I love the way she just kind of like, Sunny, give it. Like,
yes, she's like, this is. She's wanted him to back off from his business, but trust me, there are times where she loves what he does and uses it to her advantage. Okay, so Carly had another shining moment, which was because look, she's not a bobblehead. She obviously knew that, like, first of all, her son didn't make making no secret when he was smiling like a fool, like being like, I'm so happy for very special reasons, and then seeing Sasha afterwards, and I love when she goes, your workout. The reaction of Sasha and Michael was just everything.
Beautiful.
Everything. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. It was so great.
That was perfect. Because Carly, she just does it so well. It was the smile on her face. It was the pointed words. Was the look. You know, the eye contact. It was just like everything. And then like,
but she's been saving it. But she's been saving it since that time where she put 2 and 2 together, and it's like it was the perfect moment to like shove it in their faces. So I don't know. Who do you think Michael and Sasha are gonna sit with? Do you think they're gonna sit with her parents or his parents?
I think they'll sit with Willow and Chase.
That would be really fun. I think they should.
I think they should too, because we keep talking about how Michael needs more interaction with younger people. So it'd be nice to see him have that friendship. Because like you said, he's always the third part of their relationship, and not in a bad way. They have a really great, and then to integrate Sasha into that, they have like a little nice foursome.
I think that would be really cool. I mean, it's too bad Christina's not there, because they kind of alluded to the fact that they were waiting for her.
Yes.
And then
I hope she does show up, because that would be such a shining moment. Like, Willow's there, so Willow can give her strength. She is going to see Shiloh and Sam there, but there's just something about that, even if there's no word said and the looks around the room, it could be very impactful.
Well, yeah, because that's the thing with the nurses' ball. It brings just about everybody together, and you're kind of confronted with all these really weird dynamics. But yeah, I was just sort of surprised that we didn't get to see her just yet.
I think maybe she'll show up a little bit late, but she's going to be there.
Because we got some more red carpet, no?
I don't know, because they had everybody come
the door,
in,
but but we expect, I don't know, I kind of like, because we have to see Alexis. Maybe Christina will come with Alexis,
right? And maybe she doesn't want to be on TV because of how she's feeling and having that spotlight situation. That maybe she's just going to come in under the radar. We'll see her come in, but there won't be that interview Twitter type situation.
Do you know what would have been nice?
What?
If, let's say, because you know, like in the past, Britt would sneak into town and watch it on TV with Brad.
Yes, and then they like be eating ice cream and watching.
And I know you might be thinking that's what I was talking about, Britt, but it's not. I was just thinking, you know what I would have loved? I would have loved more integration. Like, imagine Christina just popped in on Joss.
Yeah.
And do you imagine if they just had a girls' night watching?
Oh my gosh, that would be so nice.
That would have been nice, because they're kind of sisters. Like, I mean, look, let's face it, those kids are like close, and there is no such thing as cousin or step anything. They're just all like siblings. I think that would have been sweet. But I'm just like, hello, what about Cam and Trina? I'm assuming they're gonna show up.
But we thought there was gonna be a moment like the Oscar
I'm still backing it, because hello, the previews, they showed Jocelyn's tag, remember?
Right.
And her wardrobe, and the song was done. And they made a point of saying that he finished the song for her to perform.
True.
So I'm not leaving that out.
So there's going to be some latecomers.
There's going to be some surprises.
So talking about maybe not the best lead into the next thing, but Lucy and Kevin in the same room and the whole big plan.
It's so not gonna. Like, first of all, Scott should know better that it was a plan. He was asked to be that guy, and he said no. But he's still getting all worked up. I can see Scott knowing it's a plan, but still feeling that Kevin is taking advantage, because he really loves seeing him as a villain. But Lucy has lost her mind. So what? If not Ava, her? I don't think so.
No, Kevin was very explicit that Lucy and him are just friends.
But I think she thinks, like, if no one else is available to you, then I'm your option.
So
like, I feel like she won't accept this concept of, like, you and I are no longer. I think for her it made sense because he chose Laura.
Okay.
And so I think in her mind that's how she sees it. Like, if he's not with Laura, then why wouldn't there be a chance? Because that's what she was kind of hoping for, and he had to keep reinforcing boundaries with her.
True. Yeah, that's all very weird and desperado, and I'm like,
I love that, like, him being with somebody would be the thing that would get her to back off. Like, I don't think she's, like, those boundaries don't really mean much to Lucy.
No, at all.
I'm trying to think, anything else stand out for you so far with the intros?
No, I mean, there was that weird, the Robert, Anna, Finn.
Oh, she
threesome.
Looked so, okay, in talking about people looked great, and some people being really photogenic. I hate to say this, because, like, we love to kind of hate on Shiloh, but he took a great picture.
Oh, he was smizing all kinds.
Yeah, he definitely knew how to take a picture. And, like, I love the Anna, Robert, Finn pose. Like, Anna knows how to take a really gorgeous picture.
Yes.
But like you had pointed out when we were watching, she was like, even though she doesn't want Robert, she was standing closer to Robert with space between her and Finn.
Exactly. Physically, that picture was everything.
It was. It really, really was.
Yeah, I think that's it for me. And I'm just, I don't want the weekend to go fast because that means I'll have to go back to London.
That's
but
true.
I do want Monday to come to watch my episode. And have some
Yes.
popcorn and maybe some Perrier and pretend it's some champagne.
Yes, I always get really sad when like midweek when I know like the nurses' ball is like kind of getting to be over.
Yeah.
So yeah,
One moment at a time. It's not over yet.
I told you that. I get
I
excited
know.
about things, and then I already imagine them to be like I'm already like dreading them to be over. Right? Yeah. Such a great outlook on life. So I'm really excited about the nurses' ball, and I will ask people this: if anybody knows the answer, Maxie hinted something at the saying that last year, hopefully this year won't be as dramatic as last year. Oh, because that's when she gave birth to her baby. Never mind. I answered myself.
So funny.
I couldn't remember what drama she was referring to from last year. Never mind. I remember. So just don't answer me and have a great weekend.
And enjoy the nurses' ball.
Bye.
Bye.